everyone, and welcome to another episode of Radiant Central, and I'm your host, Natasha St. Michael, and thank you so much for joining me. So today I'm going to show you how to make an Indonesian yellow curry. Super delicious. Pretty much with this curry, it's a two-step curry. First we got to make the fresh curry paste, and then we'll make the actual curry itself. With the curry paste, a lot of people ask me if they can, instead of using a mortar and pestle to grind down the spices, if they can use a food processor or blender. I have to actually say it's way better to use a mortar and pestle and grind down the spices by hand. When you use a food processor or blender, grind down spices especially for a curry paste, you just lose a lot of the flavor. So way better to use a mortar and pestle. And I have to say, over time, using one of them, it becomes easier and easier once you get the hang of it. So definitely something to try out, and it's amazing to have a fresh curry. I also want to mention too, before we get started, that the full recipe is written out on today's blog post at radiantcentral.com/blog. in case you don't have a chance to write down all the ingredients and the measurements and all that. Plus, I give a few recommendations for any kind of substitutes or other things you can add into the curry. All right, so let's get started. So here are the ingredients for the curry paste. You'll need fresh ginger. You'll need fresh galangal, which is also known as Thai ginger. It's in the ginger family. It's a little bit sweeter and a little bit more peppery. It's one of my favorite spices. You'll need fresh turmeric. You'll need bird's eye chilies, also known as Thai chilies, or in Indonesia they're known as cabai rawit merah. And you'll also need shallots. You'll need garlic, candle nuts. Candle nuts can be substituted either with macadamia nuts or with cashew nuts. And when we're preparing all the ingredients, I'll give you the amounts as to how much to substitute the candle nuts with. I will also post everything on today's blog post for the amounts of each ingredient, and also substitutes, anything I recommend as a substitute. You'll need salt, and you'll need black peppercorns and whole coriander seeds. Now, with the ginger root and the galangal and the fresh turmeric and even the bird's eye chilies, you can get these most probably at an Asian market. They might not be sold fresh, they might be sold frozen. So do ask if you can't get them at your regular grocery store. You can also, if you still cannot find them, go to either an Indian restaurant, a Thai restaurant, or a Chinese restaurant and ask them where do they get their ingredients, specifically the galangal, the turmeric, the bird's eye chilies, things like that, and even the candle nut, because they have to be using these ingredients for their food, and they have to be fresh. Some people might ask, can they use dried turmeric powder or dried ginger powder, things like that? Can you substitute that for the fresh stuff? And my answer is, with the ginger powder and the turmeric powder, is no. It actually doesn't taste anywhere near like the fresh stuff. So you really do need the fresh turmeric and the fresh ginger. Now what we're going to do is I'm going to go through the ingredients and how to prepare them, and then we're going to smash everything together in the mortar and pestle. Starting with the root spices like the fresh ginger, the galangal, and the turmeric, you're going to have to make sure you're going to wash them thoroughly. And then you're going to take a knife and you're going to cut out any kind of sprout that is growing out of it, any kind of nub or sprout, anything that's possibly growing out, so it's smooth in texture. Then with each of these, you're going to remove the outer skin. Take a knife and lightly scrape off the skin. So here's the ginger, the turmeric, and the galangal, and they've all been cleaned and peeled, and majority of the peel's been taken off. I don't spend too much time with the peeling, just getting the bigger peels off and making sure that there's no dirt or residue on it. And now we're going to get ready to grate everything. Now each of them you're going to want to grate 1 tablespoon of. Okay, so we'll start with the ginger. Here are the ingredients for the curry paste. We just grated down the galangal, the turmeric, and the ginger. You'll need 1 tablespoon of each. We're going to need 1/2 teaspoon of black peppercorn, 1/4 teaspoon of coriander seeds, 1½ teaspoons of sea salt, and 8 chili peppers. These are Thai bird's eye chilies. You're gonna need 8 of them if you want it super hot. My husband and I love spicy foods. This is really, really spicy. If you don't want spicy, just use maybe 1 chili pepper. If you like it medium spicy, medium heat, maybe use 4. And if you want it super spicy, like we like it, 8. If you cannot find the Thai bird's eye chilies, you can use another type of chili pepper as a substitute. You can also, if you can find dried bird's eye chilies, you can use that. Just make sure to soak them before we use them. You'll need 4 cloves of garlic. You'll need 3 candle nuts. If you cannot find candle nut, you can use macadamia nut as a substitute. You'll need 3 macadamia nuts, or you can use 6 cashew nuts. Just make sure the macadamia or the cashew nuts that they're unsalted. And you'll need 2 shallots. You can either smash all the ingredients together in the mortar and pestle to make the paste, or you can slice some of these ingredients up to make it easier for you to then mash it up into a paste. So here's the ingredients prepared. Here is the chili pepper has been sliced up, the garlic's been sliced up, and the shallots have been sliced up. Now we're gonna put everything in the mortar and pestle and make it into a paste. So here we have our mortar and pestle, and we're always going to start with the dry spices. So we're just going to start first by crushing the black peppercorn and the coriander seeds. Once you have the dry spices grounded down, then you're going to add in the shallots. Usually shallots and garlic are the first things that I always grind down because they're a little bit more slippery, and so it's easier to grind them out in the beginning as opposed to later on. I always find adding in my ingredients one by one, it makes it much easier as opposed to just throwing everything in and then smashing it down. And here's a curry paste. It took about, let's say, 5 minutes to smash it all down into a paste. Very, very easy. Now we're going to set this aside and we're going to get the ingredients together for the curry. So here are the ingredients for the curry. For the basic curry, all you're going to need is the curry paste we just made, 2 cups of fresh coconut milk, 1 shallot, and 1 garlic. That's the basic stuff for the curry. On top of that, you're going to want to add in some vegetables, and you might want to add in meat or fish or seafood, or if you're vegan or vegetarian, you might want to add in a non-GMO tofu or tempeh, or you might just want to add in more types of vegetables. Other vegetables you can add in is potato, eggplant, carrots, mushrooms, whatever you like. Personally, I love cauliflower, broccoli, red pepper, and long bean in it. If you can't get long bean, this is something that's very popular in Southeast Asia. It's sort of like an extra long green bean. If you can't get that, use snap peas. That would be a great alternative. All right, so we're gonna chop up all the vegetables and get everything ready to make the curry. Here are all the ingredients ready for the curry. So we just chopped up the cauliflower into little bits and the broccoli. So this is, I'd say, about 2 cups of cauliflower, maybe 1 to 2 cups of broccoli. Sliced up or chopped up the bell red pepper, 1, and 4 long beans, been cut into, I'd say, 1-inch pieces. If you're using sugar snap peas, I would just use a handful. And then thinly sliced shallots and thinly sliced garlic. And then I sliced the chicken up into, I'd say, 1 to 2-inch strips, and then we got 2 cups of coconut milk, and we've got the curry paste. Let's get started. So we're going to put a big saucepan onto the stove, and we're going to put it on high, and we're going to heat it up. You're then going to take a ladle or a spoon and you're going to just scoop out some of the coconut cream off the surface of the coconut milk, so the top part of the coconut milk. It'll always be thicker than what's at the bottom, and that's what we want to put into the pot. And you actually want the pot to be very hot, because what we want to do is actually cook some of this down. And we want the coconut cream or the thick coconut milk to actually kind of split. What we want to do is actually put it on high and have everything bubbling, because what I mean by it splitting is that the oil will start separating from the milk or the cream. And then that's what we want to actually cook the spice in, is that oil that is splitting away from the coconut milk or cream. So once you're getting a good bubble, and you start seeing it separate, or you're seeing some of the coconut oil coming to the surface, that's when we know it's ready to start actually cooking the spice, because we'll need to cook the spice for a few minutes. As it starts thickening up, you can pour in some of that coconut milk. But you still don't want to pour in all the coconut milk, because we really just want to be cooking that spice. After cooking the spice for a few minutes, we want to now add in chicken if you're using chicken. Once the meat is cooked, after a few minutes of cooking it with the spice, then you're going to add in the rest of the coconut milk. I'm going to add in the long bean and the red pepper, and also the shallots and the garlic. And then you're going to let it come to a boil. Now it's come to a boil, I'm going to put it down to a medium heat, and I'm going to let it keep cooking until sort of the longer to cook vegetables are cooked. The curry's been cooking now for, I'd say, about 5 to 10 minutes on a lower heat, and a lot of the coconut milk is actually evaporating, which I kind of want it to be, because I don't want it to be too soupy, but at the same time I don't want it too thick. But it's sort of coming to the point where it's getting ready to be finished. And this is when I would add in my cauliflower and my broccoli, because I don't like to have them too overcooked, and they just need a few more minutes to cook. And I'm going to leave this to cook for another few minutes. The curry's now done. And so now what I'm going to do is take it off the heat and let it cool down. I never want to serve a curry that is steaming or boiling hot. I find that it loses the taste if it's that hot, and it's actually nicer to serve curry more at a room temperature over hot rice or hot grains, because then you can really enjoy the flavor and the spices of the curry. And here is the Indonesian yellow curry, and we'll be serving it over a local red rice. And that's the curry. Super, super delicious. I actually filmed making that recipe last night. I was making that for my husband for dinner, and between the two of us, we finished it. I would say if you have a big appetite, 2 people can eat it, but it can even serve up to 4 people as well. I want to also mention again too that the recipe is written out on today's blog post at radiantcentral.com/blog. And for those that are vegetarian or vegan, I've also listed other ingredients you can use instead of using any meat or seafood or fish. All right, so enjoy the recipe, do try it out, and have a super fabulous day, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.